Hi, this is Rabbi Tzvi Mandel of Kahal B'nai Yisrael, Zelzitz community of Jewish friends. So tonight is Thursday night, Lil Shishi, the night before Shabbos Parshas Re'eh, one of the most outspoken, should we say, Parshas in the Torah. In general, the whole Devarim is Moshe Rabbeinu. You hear his neshama speaking out, and the connection of the Jew and Hashem and the Jew, and the love and the specialness. And as we mentioned, some Sefer says that's why Eretz Yisrael is mentioned so much, because the land of Israel is a special kedusha that only when Jewish people live in Eretz Yisrael and develop Eretz Yisrael physically and spiritually and emotionally, then Eretz Yisrael has its kedusha, has its special holiness. Some Sefer says that's why Eretz Yisrael is mentioned so many times in Devarim. Devarim, the sefer of the love between Klal Yisrael and the Eibishter, and Moshe Rabbeinu is verbalizing it, if you could use that word. Eretz Yisrael is part of it all. We should see big issues in Eretz Yisrael, and wherever Yidna, we should all be there. So, Chavav of yesterday was the outside of the great Reb Shlomo New Sadiger, Reb Shlomo Chaim Sadiger. What was so special about this person was that even though all his brothers were big Rebbes, Rabbi Yankov, Rabbi Yankov in Tel Aviv, his wife was a daughter of the old Kapishnitz's father, he was a brother-in-law of the Kapishnitz's. He didn't leave any children. And the other brother was Rabban, whose son, the Knesset Mordcha, was also in Tel Aviv. All great holy people that knew the whole Torah backwards and forwards. Abba Yankov, I heard from a relative of his, besides knowing Shas and Shulchan Aruch and Zoya by heart with the Kisei Arizal, he knew just about, this person told me, every word in the Shalos HaTshuvos Chassam Sefer by heart, word for word. And if a Rav paskined not like the Chassam Sefer, it got him so aggravated. He said, how could you pass not like the Chassam Sefer? And he was sweet and open and everything, but Chassam Sefer was like his Rebbe, one of his favorite paiskim, one of his favorite Rabbanim. So he knew it by heart. Yeah, very interesting. So this Reb Shlomo Chaim, what was interesting about him, not like his brothers, is that he was not a Rebbe, though he was fit to be a Rebbe. And he was fit to be a Rebbe when he used to walk into Reb Chaim Vision, says Tish, he would stand up for him and not sit down until he sits down. Now, if you look at your day of the halachas of standing up for a Talmid Chacham, that's the highest type of respect you could give for a Torah scholar. And Stalin Rebbe called him the Tzaddik. He gave him the title the Tzaddik. He didn't want to hear that he's a Rebbe, so he called him the Tzaddik. And why did they give him so much respect? I don't know. But when I'll tell you what type of person he was, then maybe we could get a little of an idea who this person was. Many rabbis tried to get out the 50,000 or 100,000, 150,000, I'm not sure, children that were stuck in the churches in the after the war. And the Vatican, the Pope, would not let them go. Rabbi Silver went there, famous story, they allowed him, to go where these children were staying, and he started singing often Pripyat Shar, Brenta Fire, or whichever mother sang to their children, and a bunch of them started singing along, so he knew that he was with the Jewish kids, couldn't get them out. The chief Rabbi Herzog, who was a big gun at Tzaddik, a great man, he saved Rabbi Belza and other big Rebbes, was very close with them. He went as an elderly man, and the audacity, they made him wait online with all the people for hours to see the father of the fathers of impurity, if he Avos Hatoma. When he finally came to the Pope, Yimach Shmai, he started bawling, crying. He says, "Where are my children? Where are my children, my Jewish children that you have in your covenants, whatever they call them?" And the Pope just told his Gab over there, "Take the old man away." Not even respect, not even, something, be a politician, be nice about it. Gornish. The Heilige Reb Shlomo Yosef Adegera, from what I read, took out thousands of these kids, and they're all in Eretz Yisrael today with families now. By now they have grandchildren, maybe great-grandchildren, and all have a stille life in a quiet way, without any fanfare, without any politics, without any covet. This is one thing that he did in his life. Another thing was that he, like I said, he wasn't an official Rebbe, but he was a big Rebbe. And by night, this is after the war, imagine the brokenness in Jewish hearts. He would go along the main, I don't know whether it was the Arcona, wherever it was, the main area where they had the shops, the stores, the main drag, what they call. And he'd stop in front of every store. This is a Jewish store. Yid needs parnasa here. Tata Nimel, please help. Send him, he should have parnasa toiva. He should have gesund. He should have nachas from his children. He should have long life and health. And bawling, crying. And people later on found out, they caught on, they couldn't get over him. Such an Ahavas Yisrael, such a love for a fellow Jew. And he used to say, "Ich bin the greatest Rebbe." He said, "I'm the biggest Rebbe." Why? Because other Rebbes, the Chassidim know who the Rebbe is, who they're getting their bracha from. The Rebbe knows who the Chassidim are, who he's getting his pidyon from. I don't know them. They don't know me. I'm not getting anything from them. I just want Hashem to bless them. They're our brothers and sisters. They're what we have left after the Chub Nabayis of Europe, Nebuchadnezzar. This is what a special person. Amen. We'll learn some HaChaim HaKadosh on Parshas Rei. So the Torah starts with Rei Anochi Nais Lefnechem Hayom Brachol Klala. See, I am putting in front of you, or giving in front of you, literally, blessing and a curse. As a bracha shetishmu, the bracha that you will definitely listen to. That's how Chassidic Mefarshim say. I think the Klayaka says it also. Asher tishmu, that you will definitely listen to. Hashem has emunah in us. That's what it says. He believes in us. We don't believe in ourselves. That's our problem. Not that he doesn't believe in us. He believes in us. So Asher Tishmun, I know you're going to listen. And by the klala, by the other side, it says, Im Loisishmu, if you won't, which means maybe something will happen that you won't. But basically, God believes in you. He loves us. He believes in us. And we should take that love and that belief and believe in ourselves. And so, says the HaChaim. First of all, he asks, why does it say Riyah on Dvarim, on words? Why does it say see on words? Another thing, why does it say Anaychi, I? It could say Ani. Also, why does it say Lashon Yachid, singular, when the whole Parsha is plural? Lefnechem, in front of you, plural. So he says a number of very interesting interpretations that give us so much chizuk and so much strength. So the first thing he says is that in order for one to rebuke somebody else, to do the right thing, one has to know both sides of the coin. Why the recipient should do what he says, what's good about what he's saying, and B, he should understand the other side, why the other person didn't do the right thing till now. He has to understand the other person and understand the test that the other person had and understand both sides of the coin. It's for this reason that Moshe Rabbeinu says don't think, Rei Anochi, look at me. Moshe Rabbeinu Chazal say, the Gemara says in Shabbos, that he knew both worlds very well. First of all, he was a Giba, he was a strong person, he was very rich. He became rich, Chazal say, from the broken luchas. Hashem said he should take the broken tablets, and this was in pay for, he didn't take any of the money when all the Jews went out of Mitzrayim, and everybody took a lot of money and a lot of property, a lot of animals, but he didn't take anything. Chacham Levi Yikach mitzvahs. He was looking for a mitzvah to do. The mitzvah was he took Yosef's bones while everybody forgot about it. So for this, payment for this, Mesiras Nefesh, of not taking anything, and he didn't have anything, God said to him, you could take the broken pieces of the luchas, which was worth a lot of money. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, look, I'm a rich man myself. I know what this world's about. And of course they knew what the other world's about, because 40 days and nights he was there, as he said, not eating anything, not drinking anything, only taking in the spirituality. And I'm telling you that the other world is better. And it's good in this world to do the things that bring you bracha from Hashem. So it's for this reason that it says Re'eh, singular, see, because in seeing, all the Jewish people were one. They were all on one level. They all knew, and it was revealed to all of them how great Moshe Rabbeinu was, both in this world and in the next world. Another thing that he's telling us is, HaChaim HaKadosh says, that the Rambam says in the 5th chapter of Hilchos Tshuva, we could all be like Moshe Rabbeinu. And a person should always have a longing and a desire and a want to grow higher than he is. Not to look under him and say, I'm better than the other guy. No. In spirituality, we should always look to be higher. So the Rambam is telling us that everyone can be Moshe Rabbeinu. And of course, this is interpreted as meaning that we could have the emunah that Moshe Rabbeinu had, and the strength and the clarity in emunah and belief in Torah and in Yiddishkeit, everything that we stand for, like Moshe Rabbeinu did. And then he says, perhaps this is only for higher people that have a higher neshama, like Moshe Rabbeinu. So he goes into a different interpretation. The Zohar says in the 3rd volume, Reish Ayin Gimel, that's 273, that every Yid that's connected to the Torah has a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu. And for sure that generation that studied Torah from his mouth, mipiv, they were chelik mimenu. They were actually part of Moshe Rabbeinu, whatever that means, on a higher level even than us, that we just have a nitzitz, a spark of Moshe Rabbeinu. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu says, Ve'ei anochi, look at me, because all of you, all the Yidden, are connected to Moshe Rabbeinu. He says, you and I are one. Re'ei, you and I are one. Singular. Another interpretation is Re'ei Anochi, the one who is Anochi, Hashem, who said, Anochi Hashem Lekecha, I am God, your God, that took you out of Egypt. So he's the one, he is the one that's giving you a bracha. And this is, of course, in contradiction with what he said before, that only Yechidei Skula, only singular, great, high, and Shabbos are connected with this, but this interpretation says no. He is the one that's giving it to you, so you're all included. There's a pshat from, heard from Shem Kalbach, from the Meir Shalayach. The Eilik Ishbitzer says that when Eliezer came to get a shidduch for Yitzchak, so he said, Eved Avram Anochi. I am the servant or the slave of Avram, of the great Avram Avinu. That's who I am. But the Ishbitz says, Re'ei Avram, there were many Avrams, but the Avram Hanoichi, the one that was known as going around, traveling, telling everybody who Hanoichi Hashem Leikecha, who God is. I'm his servant or his slave. Okay. There's another very important interpretation over here, and it says as follows, that both ways, both paths, whether you want to take the Torah path or whether one wants to take the other side, both have bracha and klala, they have blessing and curse. The Torah way is first a curse. Doesn't mean it's literally a curse, but it means it's very hard. And then for eternity, it's bliss like nothing and no one else in the world. Hazedis and Ababis in the other world, and for sure the Tzaddikim and the Baal Shem Tov and Moshe Rabbeinu and the Nevi'im and the Noim and the Amoraim, the Rishonim, enemies of Ashkenaz, like we say in Sukkot, in the Sukkah. So you have a choice, and I have a choice, whether to take the path that's later on. He brings down there's a medrash that says that there was a person standing at the fork of where you could go on two roads, choose one of two roads. First one was full of thorns, but then later it came out very beautiful sightseeing and very easy and pleasant traveling. The other one was first pleasant and easy, and then later, for the longest time, thorns. So we can understand ourselves which one is which one. The toil and the bother that a yid has, whether it's in studying Torah, whether it's getting up in the morning to learn, whether it's doing another yid chesed, doing something to someone else that maybe you don't like so much, and we do it anyway. So it brings us closer to each other, it brings our hearts together. All these things are what bring Mashiach closer, because they bring out the nitzitzis, the sparks, as the Zohar says, and the kushas and the pirukim, the questions and the answer that it says in the Gemara. That toil, that hard work, is what raises the sparks and prepares the world for Mashiach Tzidkenu. That's the real thing. Yeah, we'll see a little bit further. So it says, that the Torah Kedosha is so sweet and such a taste that Shimu is chi nafshechem, Yeshayahu Hanavi says. Hear and you'll feel your soul living. It gives life to the soul. V'hamargish b'tam HaTorah, someone who tastes the taste of the Torah. Tesichenu nafshay. His soul will love it so much that it's as if he would feel that he should really pay Hashem for this great present that we have, not Hashem paying us. Let's see. Here the HaChaim HaKadosh says, Shmar v'shamata, the Torah says, Shmar, you should keep, you should protect yourself from the loisesa, from the sins, mitzvahs that we don't do, in other words. Hashem commanded us not to do v'shamata, and you should hear, means doing the mitzvahs, I say, the positive mitzvahs. And just by hearing and by preparing ourselves and being ready to do what's right, that itself will give you extra strength to do what we should do and to keep away from what we shouldn't. There's an unbelievable story from the Reb Arla Belzer, whose Yatzeit was also, I think, this week, the 21st of Av. The Reb Arla Belzer was a young man. Today, Belzer Rebbe's uncle, his father's brother. So he was very, very great. Everybody had a lot of respect and awe. This man was like 60 pounds. At the end of his life, they had to carry him around. He barely ate anything at any time. And his brachas were unbelievable, very special, his blessings, and he helped so many Yidden. When he was a young man, he was so immersed in learning day and night that the doctor told him he better not go to the mikveh, better not immerse himself in the holy waters of the mikveh. Okay, doctor said. But there was an old chassid there that was a wise person, and he wasn't so sure that Reb Arla Belzer, even as a young man, would listen to the doctor so fast. So he went to his father, Reb Suchadai Belzer, and he said to him, the doctor told your son not to go to the mikveh. Maybe you could tell him, and that way he'll listen for sure. I'm afraid for his health. He was just worried about his health. And he said, okay, bring him to me. Brought him to him and said, Arla, don't go to the mikveh. I'm telling you, B'Gzeres Kibbutz. We know the depth and the holiness and the kavanas of mikveh, but you please don't go. Doctor said you shouldn't. It's dangerous for your health. A Jew has to live a long life. A Jew has to live a healthy life. So he can worship Hashem. He said, okay, I won't. But this chassid was, like a very wise, what they would call a wise guy, but for a good reason. So the next morning he got up like 2 a.m. because he knew that that's when Reb Arla Belzer stops his learning and goes to the mikveh. And sure enough, what does he see? He looks outside the window and he sees Reb Arla Belzer going to the mikveh. So he goes running to his father. His father was, of course, learning also all night. And he says, Rebbe, you told your son yesterday not to go to the mikveh. And I just saw him go to the mikveh. He says, I don't believe it. Call him to me. Calls him to him and he says, this Yid has something to say. Rabbi Yid, what do you have to say? So he says, I saw you go to the mikveh. Your father said, you saw me go into the mikveh? No, I didn't. But I saw you to go where the mikveh is. So I came back to tell your father he should warn you not to. So the father said, what do you say, Arla? So he says, what happened was like this. My father told me not to go to the mikveh. I'm not going to the mikveh. So I went towards the mikveh. And I was standing on the top of the waters. And I took off my clothes. And I said, Ribbon Shalom, Master of the world, you love us so much. And we love you so much. And we want to do everything that you want us to do in the best way possible. So though I can't go in the mikveh, because my father said I can't, but at least I want to do all the achanas and the preparations to go to the mikveh. So as much as that's in my hands to do, I want to do, and what's beyond that is up to you, Hashem. Shema v'shamata. You should keep and prepare so that when you hear, you should do it the right way. So that even if something can't be done in which part of it, but at least you got the most that you could out of it. So when you will be able to do it all, you'll do it with all the simcha and all the joy that a mitzvah should be done. We'll learn a little bit, again, the Shara Tshuva in the duties of the heart. And in the beginning, he says as follows, that one may exit from the worship of the creator of the world in one of two ways. Either he left keeping the mitzvahs of Hashem, he might not have been taught, or that he does actions that are against Hashem. He does sins, sort of in a way, rebelling against Hashem. So, if it's the first thing, then his doing tshuva and coming back to Hashem will be like he explains later, trying to do the right thing. And if it's the other way, that he did things that are wrong, so he has to try to keep away from things that he's been doing in the past. And could be compared to a person that got sick because he ate the wrong thing. So he starts eating foods that makes his body healthy. As opposed to if he just didn't eat enough of what he should be eating, then he eats healthy things that help him. We will get back to this mitzvah Shem, now's not the time. Have a beautiful and joyous Shabbos Mevachen, and Sunday and Monday are the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh El. We all have to do tshuva, of course, only in a joyous and positive way, but strong with our emunah that we could do it and that it's going to help. And we'll do what's required of us, and we'll grow. And the Heilige Rebbe Shalom used to say that we could all do tshuva, as we'll learn Chavos Havavis. Like some of us, we might think, I'm not really going to do the way it should be done. And I've been trying so many years, and I can't, what's this? So don't be such an old man, because the world is older than you, and Hashem is older than you, and the Torah is older than you. And if the Torah says that you could, then you could. Don't be the big knacker that you think you know everything just because you've pierced whatever you might think in your mind. Because your thinking is not absolute. And Rabbi Shalom says, I want to explain to you how beautiful it is to do tshuva and how Hashem helps with what the Rebbe Zusha Napola said. I think I said this over last year. The Rebbe Zusha says that I pray that every single Yid should have gold and silver and riches, 15 gigantic mountains of them. That should be as big as the Atlantic Ocean. The question is, where am I going to keep this? The good God will take care of it. He knows where I could do it. He'll figure it out. So if it's begashmis like that, says Rabbi Shalom, how much more baruchnis and spirituality and growth, growing emotionally with the Torah, doing more mitzvahs, learning more geschmack, how much more Hashem wants us to do it. So He'll find a place, He'll find a way that we could do it with the utmost joy. Should be a gebench for all the Eden and the Eibshel helfen. All the Yeshuas and all the Refuas. Seid gebencht, have a Felach and Shabbos, a Felach and Chodesh.